The sound of applause drowns everything else. I sit completely still, my smile frozen as Eric Dalton, my boss, wraps his arm around Chloe's shoulders. "Our new department manager," he announces, grinning. Chloe blushes, pretending humility. My heart drops as I recognize my own project slides on the screen behind them. My campaign. My 5 years. Eric looks directly at me and says, "You've always been such a team player, Ilara." I force myself to nod while my vision blurs. Around me, colleagues clap enthusiastically, some glancing at me with pity. The fluorescent lights feel too bright. My hands grip the armrests so tightly my knuckles turn white. This is the moment everything changes. This is when I stop being the reliable one and start being invisible. My name is Ilara Quinn, and until that day I thought effort meant respect. I believed if you worked hard enough, stayed late when others went home, eventually people would see your value. I'd spent 5 years at this company, climbing from junior analyst to senior strategist. 5 years of late nights under flickering office lights. 5 years of cold coffee and missed birthdays with family who stopped inviting me. I carried everyone else's deadlines while Eric promised, "Next quarter, you're up for that promotion." Next quarter became next year, became maybe soon. I built campaigns from nothing, turned failing projects into success stories, mentored new hires until they outpaced me. I smiled through all of it because I thought that's what team players did. I thought loyalty mattered. I was wrong. Chloe arrived on a Monday morning in March, all wide eyes and soft voice. She was fresh out of university, eager but overwhelmed. I remember her first day because Eric assigned me to show her around. "This is Ilara," he'd said, "she'll get you settled." Chloe seemed grateful, thanking me for every small kindness. I helped her set up her computer, explained our systems, walked her through client databases. I even took her to lunch that first week, answering endless questions about office culture. "You'll do fine," I assured her when she confessed feeling overwhelmed. Everyone feels that way at first. I protected her from early mistakes, covering when she missed deadlines, gently correcting her errors before anyone noticed. It never crossed my mind that Chloe's charm wasn't just professional. I never imagined she was learning more than job responsibilities. The red flags started appearing slowly, so gradually I almost missed them at first. Eric began calling Chloe kiddo in meetings, his tone affectionate and familiar. They had long meetings behind closed doors, his glass-walled office revealing their silhouettes but not their words. Mentorship, Eric explained when someone finally asked about the frequency. "I'm investing in developing our young talent." Through the glass walls I could see them laughing together, Chloe leaning forward attentively, Eric gesturing enthusiastically. A few co-workers started exchanging meaningful looks when Chloe's name came up, raising eyebrows when Eric praised her contributions. But no one dared say anything directly, not to management, not even to each other beyond those silent glances. We all knew something felt off, but speaking up meant risking our own positions. So we stayed quiet, complicit in our silence. I told myself it was nothing, that I was reading too much into normal workplace interactions. I was good at lying to myself back then. My annual performance review came in late April, right on schedule. Eric sat across from me in his office, leaning back in his expensive chair with that confident smile I'd once found reassuring. "Ilara," he began, "your loyalty to this company doesn't go unnoticed. You're the backbone of this department, truly." He went on about my consistency, my reliability, how much he valued my contributions. Then he leaned forward, his voice dropping conspiratorially. "Big things are ahead for you, I promise. Just keep doing what you're doing." I walked out of that meeting glowing with renewed hope, feeling validated after months of self-doubt. I thought finally my hard work was being recognized. I treated myself to an actual lunch that day instead of eating at my desk. I called my mom and told her the promotion was coming. I didn't know that in the very next office over, Eric was having a similar conversation with Chloe, grooming her for the exact same position he'd just promised to me. The subtle shift happened so gradually I couldn't pinpoint exactly when it started. Suddenly Chloe was leading presentations I'd built from scratch, standing at the front of client meetings with my slides and my research. Eric would praise her fresh ideas enthusiastically, never mentioning that those ideas had come from my strategy documents. I found myself biting my tongue in meetings, watching Chloe stumble over concepts I'd spent weeks developing. Then I'd stay late, rewriting scripts and fixing errors behind the scenes so the projects wouldn't fail completely. "You're making us all look good," Eric told me one evening when he caught me working past midnight. "Well, not you specifically. Not Alara makes us look good. Just us. The collective that somehow never included my name when credit was distributed publicly. I started keeping my own records then, documenting everything in private files. Not because I planned to use them, but because I needed proof that I existed, that my work was real, that I wasn't imagining my own contributions disappearing into someone else's portfolio." The public embarrassment came during a routine team meeting in early June. We were presenting campaign results to the broader department, and Chloe was at the front, clicking through slides I'd created the night before. Then she misquoted a critical data point, confidently stating a number that was completely wrong. I watched from my seat as confused looks spread across the room. Before I could even think about how to handle it tactfully, Eric cut in smoothly. "Ilara will clarify that for us," he said, gesturing toward me like I was a reference book he could pull from a shelf. I stood, corrected the error, explained the actual metrics while Chloe smiled apologetically beside me. Light laughter rippled through the room at the mistake. Eric smirked slightly, turning to the group. "See, that's why Ilara is so reliable. We can always count on her to catch the details. Reliable. Not innovative, not leadership material, not promotable. Just reliable." The word landed on me like a weight I'd carry forever. I sat back down and didn't speak again for the rest of the meeting, that single word burning in my chest. Another late night alone in the office, the cleaning crew long gone, just me and the hum of computers still running. I was finishing a report that was due the next morning, one that somehow became my responsibility despite being assigned to Chloe initially. I stood to stretch my back, and that's when I saw them through Eric's glass office wall. Chloe perched casually on the edge of his desk, both of them laughing about something. The intimacy of the moment was undeniable. The way she leaned toward him, the way his hand rested near hers on the desk. When they noticed me watching, the laughter cut off instantly. Silence hung heavy even through the glass. Eric stood quickly, adjusting his tie. "We're just finishing up a strategy chat," he called out, his voice too loud, too defensive. Chloe slid off the desk, suddenly very interested in gathering papers that weren't even scattered. I nodded once, throat tight with something I couldn't name yet, and walked back to my desk. I opened my report document and deleted the entire thing without saving. Then I went home. Back to the conference room, the announcement that shattered everything. "Eric thanks me publicly for mentoring Chloe so selflessly." His voice warm with false appreciation. "For teaching her everything she knows. For being such a generous colleague." The insult lands like a slap across my face that everyone pretends not to see. I mentored her straight into my promotion, trained my own replacement, handed over 5 years of knowledge so someone else could climb the ladder I'd been promised. The applause continues, sounding less like celebration and more like mockery with every clap. Colleagues avoid my eyes now, embarrassed for me, relieved it isn't them. Chloe beams at the front of the room, accepting congratulations, probably believing she earned this moment. Maybe she doesn't even realize what was taken from me. Maybe she does and just doesn't care. Eric shakes her hand formally for the cameras someone is using to document this milestone. My project slides still glow behind them, my work, my ideas, now forever associated with someone else's name. I keep my frozen smile in place until my face aches. After the meeting ends and everyone disperses, I walk calmly to the restroom on autopilot. I lock myself in the furthest stall and just stand there, breathing slowly and deliberately. No crying, not yet. No screaming, though I want to. Just stillness. Just the sound of my own breath and the fluorescent buzz overhead. I count to 10, then 20, then 50. When I finally emerge, I look at my reflection in the mirror above the sinks. My eyes are calm, too calm, emptied of something I used to carry. Don't give them the satisfaction, I whisper to my own reflection, my voice steady and cold. Don't let them see it break you. My reflection stares back, and I barely recognize the person looking at me. She looks harder somehow, like something soft has been carved away. I wash my hands with cold water, fix my hair, straighten my shirt. Then I walk back to my desk and begin planning my exit with the same careful precision I've applied to every project they'll never credit me for again. 2 days later, Chloe invites me to lunch to celebrate her promotion. The request comes via cheerful email with an exclamation point. I stare at it for 5 full minutes before responding with a simple "sure, sounds good." We meet at the cafe down the block, the one we used to go to together when she first started. She orders enthusiastically, talking about her new responsibilities, her excitement, her plans. Every smile I give her tastes like acid dissolving my teeth. Chloe gushes across the table, reaching out to touch my hand. "I couldn't have done this without you," she says earnestly, like she actually believes the words coming out of her mouth, like she doesn't understand what those words really mean. I pull my hand back gently and meet her eyes directly. I know I say simply, my voice even and quiet. She blinks, uncertain if she heard correctly. I leave cash for my half of the bill on the table, stand, and walk out without looking back. Behind me, I hear her call my name once, confused. I don't turn around. That night, I sit at my desk in my apartment, staring at the company's glowing logo on my laptop screen. The logo I used to feel proud to represent, that I thought represented something about excellence and merit. Now it just looks like corporate branding covering up the same old favoritism and broken promises. I open a blank document and draft my resignation letter. I don't write paragraphs explaining my reasons or expressing gratitude for opportunities. I don't soften the blow with professional language about growth and new directions. I write one single line. Effective immediately. 2 words that will end 5 years in a single moment. I read it over 3 times, my cursor hovering over the save button. Then I click save, close my laptop and go to bed. I sleep better that night than I have in months, maybe years. My dreams are quiet and empty, finally free of deadlines and disappointment. When I wake up the next morning, I feel lighter, like I've already left even though the letter still sits unsent in my drafts folder. I arrive at the office early the next morning, before most people, before Eric. I print my resignation letter on crisp paper, fold it neatly, and place it in a plain envelope with Eric's name written clearly across the front. When he arrives at 9, coffee in hand and tie slightly crooked, I'm waiting outside his office. His shock looks performative when I hand him the envelope and he reads the contents. "You're really doing this?" he asks, like he can't possibly understand why I'd want to leave such a wonderful opportunity. "Over a promotion? That seems extreme, Ilara." I smile, and it feels genuine for the first time in weeks. "You told me once to know my worth," I say calmly. "Finally do." He laughs it off, confidence oozing from his posture. "You'll be back," he says, already dismissing me. They always come back when they realize how good they had it here. I shake his hand firmly, holding his gaze. "Goodbye, Eric." Then I walk out of his office, pack my personal items into a small box, and leave the building for the last time. I don't say goodbye to anyone else. Just go. Word spreads through the office faster than I expected. By lunchtime, my phone is buzzing constantly with messages from coworkers. "You were the best thing about this place," someone texts. "It's not the same without you already," writes another. Others send longer messages about how much they learned from me, how I made their jobs easier, how they'll miss my presence. I read each one carefully but don't reply immediately. Instead, I create a folder on my computer and save their words in a document I title "Proof I Mattered." Later, when doubt creeps in during quiet moments, I'll open that folder and remember I wasn't imagining my contributions. People noticed. People cared. They just didn't care loudly enough or publicly enough to change anything. That night, my phone rings with calls from Eric, then from HR asking me to reconsider, offering exit interviews, wanting to understand my sudden departure. I let them all go to voicemail. I've said everything I needed to say. Now I'm just listening to the silence. 1 week after my resignation, I meet with representatives from a rival firm across town. They'd reached out months ago, actually, back when I was still convinced loyalty to my current company meant something. I'd politely declined then, but I'd kept their contact information filed away. Now I sit in their bright, modern conference room while their director reviews my portfolio. "We've followed your career," she says, looking up at me with genuine respect. "We've seen your work, the campaigns that turned struggling clients into success stories. We'd love to bring you on as our senior creative director." The title alone is 2 levels above what I had before. For the first time in 5 years, I hear my name directly attached to my success. Not as a team player or reliable support, but as a Lara Quinn, the strategist who built something worth noticing. They offer me a salary that makes my eyes widen, benefits that actually prioritize work-life balance, and a team I'd lead rather than silently support. I accept before the meeting ends. Eric posts a company update on social media a few days after I start my new position, proud to announce new leadership milestones within our growing team. His post reads, accompanied by a photo of Chloe standing confidently in front of the office. The comment section fills quickly with emoji reactions and fake enthusiasm. "Congratulations. So well deserved. Amazing news." I scroll through once, my face neutral, then a faint smile crosses my lips. I close the app without liking, commenting, or reacting in any way. That world doesn't need my validation anymore. My new office is on the 20th floor with windows that overlook the river. I have a team of 8 talented people who actually listen when I speak, who implement my ideas and credit me in meetings, who treat me like the leader I always was but was never allowed to be. I take a photo of the view from my desk and send it to my mom. She replies immediately with heart emojis and the words, "I'm so proud of you." That's the only validation I need now. The cracks in Eric's carefully constructed world begin showing within weeks. Clients start calling my new office, quietly, tentatively. "Can we talk about potentially moving our account?" they ask during exploratory calls. "We're concerned about consistency and quality since some personnel changes." I listen to their concerns professionally, never bad-mouthing my former employer, never actively recruiting their business. Instead, I refer them to my new manager, let her handle the negotiations. I don't have to initiate anything or convince anyone. Loyalty moves naturally toward competence, toward people who deliver results rather than excuses. 3 clients transfer their accounts to our firm within the first month. Each time, I see Eric's company mentioned in industry newsletters, carefully worded announcements about strategic refocusing and streamlining partnerships. I know what those corporate phrases really mean. They're losing business faster than they can replace it, and they're scrambling to hide the bleeding. My phone buzzes with texts from former coworkers. "It's chaos here," one writes. "Everything's falling apart." I read the messages but rarely respond. That's not my problem anymore. The first major collapse happens in late August. Chloe mishandles a campaign for one of the company's largest clients, a retail chain that had been with them for 6 years. The details reach me through industry gossip before any official announcement. Apparently, she approved a social media campaign without proper legal review, and it resulted in a public relations disaster involving copyright issues. The client pulls out completely after the misfire, releasing a tersely worded statement about moving in a different direction. Eric sends an email to all staff that gets forwarded to me by someone still on the inside. "We'll recover from this setback," his message reads. No blame needed, just lessons learned and moving forward together. But everyone knows. The whisper network that exists in every office, the quiet conversations by coffee machines and in bathroom stalls, that network is very much alive. And it's not kind to either Eric or Chloe. Former colleagues send me screenshots with laughing emojis. "Guess who just lost the Harrison account?" One text reads. "Karma is real," writes another. I don't laugh. I just feel tired and vindicated and sad all at once. My team wins the account Chloe lost. We didn't pursue it aggressively. The client approached us directly after hearing I'd moved firms. During negotiations, they specifically mentioned wanting to work with me by name, appreciating my strategic approach and attention to detail. We close the deal in early September, and my company announces it proudly across social media and in a press release. Under strategic lead Ilara Quinn, the announcement reads, highlighting my role prominently. My old co-workers send me screenshots of the LinkedIn post with crying laughing emojis and messages of congratulations. Best news I've seen all year, someone writes. You deserve this so much. Eric's company doesn't officially acknowledge losing the client, but the absence speaks loudly. I frame the press release and hang it in my office, not out of spite, but as a reminder that good work eventually gets recognized, even if it takes time and a complete change of scenery. That evening, my director takes our team out for celebratory drinks. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm exactly where I belong. Eric calls an emergency department meeting in mid-September. I hear about it from multiple sources, people who still message me regularly with updates I never request but secretly appreciate. We can't afford more mistakes, Eric apparently snaps during the meeting. His usual charm replaced with visible stress. The pressure is visible now, public, embarrassing. Chloe sits beside him looking small and defensive, her earlier confidence completely deflated. Colleagues describe the tension as suffocating, the way Eric's frustration focused on her despite his earlier promises to take responsibility. The once power couple, the favoritism that everyone whispered about but nobody confronted, now that relationship is visibly cracking under professional pressure. By the end of September, their dynamic has completely shifted. Eric stops defending her mistakes publicly. Chloe stops attending his closed-door strategy sessions. The Office Gossip Network reports they barely speak to each other anymore. What started as inappropriate favoritism has curdled into resentment and blame. I almost feel sorry for Chloe until I remember she knew exactly what she was doing, who she was replacing, what it would cost someone else for her to rise. In early October, HR receives anonymous complaints about favoritism, inappropriate workplace relationships, and abuse of authority. Multiple complaints from different email addresses, all carefully documenting incidents with dates and details. Eric dismisses them publicly as coming from disgruntled employees who can't handle change. But leadership quietly begins an audit, reviewing personnel files, promotion decisions, project attributions. They interview current and former employees confidentially. Several people reach out to me during this time, asking if I'd be willing to speak with investigators. I decline politely, explaining I've moved on and don't want to be involved in internal disputes. But I do mention that I kept detailed records of my own work, time-stamped documents and emails, just in case those become relevant to anyone's review. I send copies to a former colleague who promises to ensure they reach the right people. I don't do this out of revenge. I do it because truth matters, because other people are still working there who deserve better, because silence protects systems that shouldn't be protected. The investigation expands beyond Eric's department, uncovering patterns nobody expected. A leaked report hits the executive floor in late October, and within hours, it's circulating throughout the entire company. Someone forwards it to me anonymously. The report details how Eric approved bonuses to Chloe without proper authorization, circumventing standard review processes. It shows project credits given to her for work she didn't do, performance reviews inflated beyond justification, promotion timelines accelerated inappropriately. The board of directors intervenes directly, launching their own investigation separate from HR. I read the article headline about it while drinking my morning coffee in my sunny office. Executive under review for workplace ethics violations, the industry publication announces. I don't smile exactly, but something settles in my chest, a quiet satisfaction that truth eventually surfaces even when people try desperately to bury it. My phone buzzes with messages from former colleagues. Did you see? One asks. This is wild, writes another. Finally, someone adds, just that single word carrying the weight of years of frustration. I respond to a few with simple acknowledgements, then close my phone and get back to work. I have a presentation to finish. The downfall comes swiftly after the investigation concludes. In early November, Eric is forced to resign to pursue new opportunities, according to the carefully worded company statement. Everyone knows what that corporate language really means. He was fired but allowed to leave with some dignity and tact. Chloe is demoted back to her original junior position. Her promotion officially rescinded. Within 2 weeks, she quits altogether, unable to face the office gossip and the colleagues who now know the full story. Eric's entire department is folded into another team during company restructuring, eliminating several positions and redistributing responsibilities. The building feels emptier according to people still working there, a ghost of what it once was before politics and favoritism poisoned the culture. My phone buzzes late one evening with a call from an unknown number. I stare at it for 3 rings before letting it go to voicemail. No message is left. Somehow I know it was Eric, finally realizing maybe that his decisions had consequences he never anticipated. I delete the missed call notification and don't save the number. That door is permanently closed. The poetic irony arrives in December, wrapped in a major contract negotiation. My firm secures a partnership with a massive client, the same one Eric once used to threaten my job security years ago. Remember, he told me once, "They specifically asked for you on this project, so don't disappoint me." Back then I'd felt pressure and fear. Now I feel power. During our negotiation meetings, the client's representative mentions my previous company unprompted. "We considered renewing with them," she explains, "but frankly, we prefer your firm's integrity over their internal chaos. We want people who focus on results rather than office politics." I nod professionally, keeping my expression neutral. "Integrity is good business," I reply simply. We close the deal before Christmas, my biggest professional win yet. The contract is worth more than my entire previous annual salary. When my director announces it to the company, she specifically credits my relationship building and strategic vision. My team celebrates with champagne in the conference room. I raise my glass and finally let myself feel proud, not of what I survived, but of what I built afterward. 6 months into my new position, I'm leading a team meeting in my office overlooking the city. We've grown to 12 people now, talented professionals who chose to work with me specifically, who respect my leadership and contribute their own brilliant ideas. During a break, one of my junior employees approaches me hesitantly. "Can I ask you something personal?" she says quietly. I gesture for her to continue. "How did you stay so calm when they took what was yours at your old company?" She asks. "I heard about what happened, and I don't know if I could have handled it with so much grace." I pause, considering my answer carefully while looking out at the city skyline. The question deserves honesty. I smile softly. Not the fake smile I wore for so long, but a real one built from hard-won wisdom. I realize that what's truly mine can't actually be stolen, I tell her. Can only be delayed. My skills, my knowledge, my integrity, those things lived inside me the whole time. They gave away a title and credit, but they couldn't take my actual value. That waited for the right place to finally be recognized. She nods thoughtfully, and I see understanding dawn in her eyes. The story closes here, not on revenge but on renewal. Not on what I lost, but on what I built from the ashes of that loss. Success isn't about making others fail. It's about knowing your worth and finding people who recognize it too.